entering the month of Kislev, Sagittarius. So we are going to discuss, from Jewish point of view, definitely Jewish point of view of astrology. So Rebbe a lot speak about it. Talmud, Tractate Sabbath, few pages. What happens to somebody born on this sign, this zodiac, this planet. So definitely all of this have its sources in Judaism. The Book of Formation, the book which is called in Hebrew Sefer HaYetzirah, related to Abraham, had a lot of secrets about the creation. Yeah, which was created, the world was created with the letter of the alphabet. Every planet has a letter, every zodiac, every element, everything in this book of formation related to Abraham. According to this book, one really can create man, create animals, famous stories about it, facts which are known, history. So let us discuss this month of Kislev, important month, Chanukah, Matityahu, Zmanin, all this really comes out beautifully through the Hebrew letters, through the stars, etc., which are connected with Hebrew letters. The word was created with Hebrew letter. Bereshit bara Elokim et, in the beginning God created et, ze, Aleph and Tav, from Aleph till Tav. So in fact, we have previous lectures about astrology, the connection of the planets to letters, zodiacs, elements. We're looking at it. If you put astrology lecture, Rabbi Glazerson. So let us see now what we have coming now in the month of Kislev and Sagittarius, as we said. Now, what is interesting, definitely, as always we mention, are the letters connected with planets, elements, zodiacs, which have to do with this month. So as I wrote in my book, regarding the month Kislev, which itself also has a meaning Kislev, Kas, covering, case covering, Lamed Vav, 36, these are the 36 candles, and the 36 hours is the beginning of creation where the hidden light was shining. And then, as we know, God concealed it because of wicked people who he saw that misuse it. So, therefore, we don't have clearly this light, but it is that on Chanukah, in those candles, 36 candles, we have sparks of this hidden light. So regarding the month of Kislev, so the following is stated in the book of Yetzirah, which is the book of formation, as I mentioned, in which we are told how all these letters of the alphabet were involved in the creation of the world. So what is written there about this book, which is attributed to our forefather Abraham, so these are the words written there. He controllated it with the letter Samech. The letter Samech, interesting. So it's coronated with letter Samech, which, as we see just now, what it means. In fact, clearly you can see that the word Samach comes from the Hebrew word Samuch. Samuch is to support, helping, right? Indicating already that this is a month that we needed a lot of support from God, yeah. And we got it in Chanukah. We hope that we'll get it only in the future, if we keep the Torah. So this is really, idea is it is attached a crown to it. And what is interesting that is, as every month an attribute. Yeah, attribute. Very interesting that the attribute of this month is sleep. People who are in Sagittarius maybe like to sleep much, but as we saw later on, it is very, very deep idea behind. And really this was the expression of the book of formation, which says, attach a crown to sleep and forge them together, and fasten within them the bow, which is Sagittarius, in the worldly realm. Interesting. This is normally the expression of the book of formation about each month. It is crowned it with this letter, joined it with the other attributes. Kislev in the realm of time, the year, and this has to do with the stomach. It looks in the beginning funny, but you see later on much deeper idea. So it means perhaps that people of Sagittarius like to eat a lot. No, I'm Sagittarius. But what is the idea that the stomach within the microstomic realm is the male and female. This is really the verse translated from the Book of Formation, related to Abraham, but lots of secrets behind it. So let us start what our rabbis from the past, see in what we just saw. So Tzadok Cohen has a book, it's called Pri Tzadik, in Genesis, Bereshit, in the beginning of Rosh Chodesh Kislev. So he says that the name Kislev, as we mentioned before, Kislev denotes confidence, something suppose, and inner strength. As used in the verse, there is a verse, if I have made God my hope, which is Kislev. Now, it is interesting, the word castle in Hebrew is something like fortified place, almost like a castle in English. Interesting. Yeah, so this is a man's Kislev have to do with some kind of strength, confidence. And this he continually said in this verse that we mentioned, you are my confidence. By the way, as I said, it is interesting to note that in English the word castle composed of the same phonetics as the Hebrew castle means fortress. Yeah, interesting, to do with bitachon, yeah, security. And we need it apparently very much this month, not only this month, but a lot we need it now. So, the idea of all this, the Ibn Ezra said about the word Kesel also. You know, the Ibn Ezra, the old commentator of the Bible, and he brings also a very interesting thing about this. And according to him, the word Kesel means a walking staff, or crush, you know, interesting. Now, all this also to do with something holding, supporting you. Rashi also, on the same way, he says that Kesel means the hope that comes from planning. As in the verse, for God will He your support. Exactly the same idea, the hope in God, that He will help us. Always behind the word Samech, and the name Kislev. So, another interesting, as we say, the idea of connection of zodiacs to parts of the body. So those are really the kidneys, yeah. And this is a part in the body which is connected with Sagittarius. And the idea is, because we know that the famous expression in the Protestant verses, Klayot Yoasot, yeah, the kidneys give you the advice. Advisor of the body are the kidneys. So it is interesting that Kala also means desire in Hebrew, longing. So altogether, the idea is thus the main spiritual function of the month of Kislev is the strengthening of faith in God and the affirmation of hope in complete liberation. So amazingly, as I wrote in the book, from Sefer Yetzirah, and connecting all those ideas, definitely to do with different expressions in the vertex Kislev, showing us, teaching us that this is a month really that we should strengthen our faith in God and strengthen our belief that by praying, by believing in God, we will get the support which we need very much. It is the month of Kislev, Sagittarius. Now, looking more into the idea of Kislev, let us go a little bit more into the idea of the bow. Hebrew is keshet, what it represents and what it has to do with the month of Kislev, Sagittarius. So it is very interesting commentary, better to say, really very deep commentary, explanation about all these things in a very famous book. It's called Shem Mishmuel, the name from Shmuel, but it is, she's called the Sochet Rebbe, Bornstein, and beautiful ideas are coming, explaining the ideas behind what we mentioned before. So, according to the Shem Mishmuel, really this is according to the portion of the week, so it is this portion of Yachei Sarah. So the Sagittarius, the bow symbolize the power of prayer that insists issues really from the depth of the heart. Meaning proper prayer should come from the depths of the heart, because the more deeper it goes in the heart, the higher it goes up. The more intention you have, the more kavanah you have, your prayer goes higher and higher. So this is really what the bow represents, because the more you are pulling the arrow to you, to your heart, nearer, goes higher, fly higher. So this is really the idea of prayer, that one should really, like a bow, issues force an arrow, the tighter the arrow presses against the bow, and when being aimed at the heaven, the closer the arrow to earth, the higher the arrow will travel when it is released. Amazing. This is exactly the analogy seems to explain the situation of the Jew of the Hashmonaim uprising. The great Syrian Empire oppressed the Jewish nation greatly by its laws, designated to forcibly and calculation and subdue the Jewish people. This led to the mobilization of the inner sparks of the souls of Jewish people and to the formation of the Hashmonaim kingdom under the leadership of Matityahu. So this is amazing deep explanation, that the more you oppress the Jews, then the Jews comes out with very strong powers. We saw it clearly since the war. In times that really they oppress the Jews by threats and so on. So then the Jewish soul comes out strongly. But it is not, unfortunately, everything goes smooth and nice, no effort. So we see that quite many Jews are losing their Judaism, their entity. So comes out from all these ideas that the bow, as a symbol of the power of prayer, in fact we found it in one of the commentaries of Onkelos. The Onkelos is in Aramaic translation, the Onkelos. He was a good relative of the Emperor of Rome. And you know the story that they realized the greatness of Judaism, the greatness of God. He converted and is one of the greatest commentators on the Torah. The secrets behind this is Onkelos. Yeah, Targum Onkelos. Every Chumash, when you go to Shul, open it, you see on the left side, Onkelos, Aramaic. So it's a great mitzvah, commandments to read it with the Torah, written Torah. So he says, very interesting, that Yaakov, when Jacob really said to Joseph, he said to Joseph, his son, so in Hebrew is Asher lakachti biyadai mori becharbi v'kashti. So that I conquered from the hands of the Amorites with my sword and bow. So Onkelos translates that it refers to prayer. Right? Prayers. The revelation of the inner resolve of the Jewish nation in the time of Hazmonaim Chanukah is also indicates the word Kislev, as we said, that etymologically related to the word Salim, for instance, loins, kidneys, as we said, and also klaya, all are the same idea, which indicates kala in Hebrew is longing. So intense longing, and points to the intense longing of the Jewish people for holiness and purity that showed its result is a successful reward in Chanukah. They were longing for purity, cleanliness, spiritual values, the Torah. And when one has very strong longing to something, God helps. If there are things, definitely. So all this, as we mentioned about Sagittarius, or support, longing, all of this really coming beautifully on Chanukah. So those qualities are available each year as the early cycle reaches this month of Kislev Sagittarius. With the holiday of Chanukah occurs. So, really we are now in this time and really approaching Chanukah, when we saw clearly that all these attributes of the month of Kislev, the meaning of the word Kislev, the bow, the zodiac of this month, all of them came out. Now what is also interesting, going into the meaning of the word Chanukah. What did Chanukah come from? Chinuch, education, lechanech, to educate, chinuch. So, what is the connection? So, it means chinuch, lechanech in Hebrew is also to start something, to renew, yeah? To renew something. We said Chanukat Habayit, inauguration of the house, yeah? So, chinuch, educating somebody, is to start his way in life, how to behave, what is the right way. So, lechanech is to renew something. So, as we know quite well, that on this time, this was the time that we, Chanukat Habayit, the Greeks defiled, contaminated all these holy places, the oils and so on. And what was the purpose of Chanukah? To lechanech, to start is to, again, to purify it, to bring this purity into the oil, into everything. So it was like chinuch, renewal of time. So, very, very important idea behind all this is that energies which are used in non-spiritual way, as they are expressed, is a desire for adventure and inclination towards powerful experiences, which are, if not channeled in spiritual awareness, may cause harm to the Sagittarians. You know, it is very interesting that the astrology said that people who are born on the Sagittarius have really inclination to, for adventure, to go to find out new things, new ideas, and everything, new places. And sometimes it's really become dangerous, really. But from Jewish point of view, in the practice of Judaism, these spiritual powers come to expression is a ritual of the Hanukkah festival. Yeah, definitely. Of this idea of shofar repentance, when you are really use the power which unfortunately you use for wrong things to the right thing. Yeah, many Baalei Tshuva that we know were before, unfortunately, very much in the secular way. Like if you take the Rabbi Uri Zohar, and if you heard about him, he's a famous example, was one of the best actors in Israel, his movies and so on. But when he met a rabbi who told him the truth, and he was, after hearing it, he was convinced that he is right, there is a God, there is one. So he left everything and became, he went to yeshiva to learn. Now he's a great rabbi, a great educator. So amazing to see the power, the talents that before he was using for movies, for playing, brought it in the right way, learning, teaching, educating. So very interesting also is to understand what is the idea about the nature of this month. As we mentioned, the Book of Formation is sleep. What is sleep? This is really negative. What is the idea of sleeping? One Sagittarius like to sleep, maybe. But in fact, there is much more behind. So the idea is the following. This was a situation that Jews found themselves in under the dominion of the Greek Empire. I mean, it was spiritual sleep. Yeah, simple spiritual sleep. This was a situation of Jews at that time. Many of them assimilated also. And it was really, particularly in this state, that the inner essence of the Jews was aroused, as in the verse, which is Song of Songs, chapter 5, verse, we say, Ani yashena v'libi, amazingly, looking into this verse, Ani yashena, I am asleep, but my heart is awake. What is behind? What is the idea behind? So the idea, the theme really of this idea is showing the ability to be roused from spiritual sleep is indicated in the verse, the Book of Formation. He coronated the letter Samer in the attribute of sleep. Now we can see the connection. What's the connection? The power of support and renewal, symbolized in the letter Samech, as we said, which was the inner will and confidence, overcame the spiritual slumber and dormancy. Amazing. This is exactly what happened in Greece. So, exactly this was an yeshena. I was asleep from Judaism for spirituality. And my heart, still in the heart, in the Jewish soul, was something. And because of this pressure, as we said, it came out like a bow, like an arrow from the bow, and brought out the beauty of Judaism, light of Judaism, which is Hanukkah. Amazing. Now, so this is discussing a little bit of the meaning of the word Kislev and the meaning of the bow, Sagittarius, what is to do with the arrow. There are many ideas behind all this, about 3 years. So therefore I really advise that you get my book about the zodiac, important to point out that the greatest astrologist in the world, the very famous Sidney Omar, who is a column in New York Times. He passed away a few years ago. But he was really this one who told Kennedy, don't go to Dallas, they will kill you. Very famous. Now he passed away a few years ago. An amazing story, really. His name is Sidney Omar, a name which is far away from being a Jewish name. And the story is that I gave a lecture in Los Angeles about my book, about the zodiac. And it was a lady there that bought my book, I sold my book, and she happened to live in the same building as Sidney Omar, Santa Monica. So she bought the book, and she came to him, and she knocked on the door and said, Rabbi, rabbis also believe, Jews also believe in astrology. She said, don't you tell me nonsense. No, the rabbis told me, leave it away. So he looked in the book, and he said to her, this Rabbi, Glazerson, who wrote this book, changed now all my life. I said, what happened? So I said, look, I will tell you a secret that nobody knew. Really, I am called Sidney Omar, New York Times, over television. This is my name. In fact, this is not my name. My name is Eric Himmelman. I was learning in a Talmud Torah, in a Jewish, Orthodox school in Poland, where I felt very much, long ago, it's better to say, really, I was driven spiritually. I could feel that something moves me. I want to know and to learn about astrology. Yeah, very strong inspiration, whatever you call it, for astrology. So then I really went into it. By the way, I wrote a lot of books on this and found out that astrology is not a game. Really, if one goes into it, however, in the Talmud there are about 10 pages what is astrology, about the stars, about the planets, everything. This is part of creation. The book of formation of Abraham clearly shows how all this astrology, all those planets are connected with the letter of the alphabet. Because the word was created with the alphabet. So he looked at the book, I think for a few minutes she told me. And then he said to her, as I said, Rabbi, this book changed all my life. How can I get the book? So they called, I think, Chabad bookshop, other bookshops in Los Angeles. Have you Rabbi Glazerson book about the zodiac? Unfortunately, it's sold out. So then they said, what we can do, I must have this book, because it will give me such depth into what I wrote about the planets, etc. So they all took my books, they look inside, maybe there are phone numbers. So there is in my book, phone number of mine in Israel, and phone book of my cousin in Santa Barbara, Bernard Himmelson. Said, let us call his cousin, maybe he must have his book. So they called my cousin, and who was speaking the phone? I was sitting, the phone was next to me, so I picked it up. Sidney Omar for Rabbi Glazerson. I said, who is Sidney Omar? Who is this one? Who is Sidney Omar? This is an astrologist that's on the television, radio, no privacy. So he told me, look, Rabbi, I want to tell you that your book changed me. I did not know that Judaism has such deep connection with astrology, letters. He knew alphabet. Yeah, you were learning. He knew exactly what alphabet and clearly could see the connection to the letters and the planets. Yeah. Letter Tzaddik, which is really Tzaddik, is Tzedek, somebody with charity, helping, loving kindness. So it says this was a letter with which Jupiter was created. This is what is written, and this is exactly people who are under Jupiter, good heart, to help and very emotionally. This is also, by the way, the planet which have impact on this month, Sagittarius, right? Good heart. And so on, when the Mercury is rushing, exactly the quickest. So immediately you could see that those letters and the stars, planets, elements are connected. So he said to me, when we met, by the way, how we met, when he told me that really, your book really is amazingly showing me a new light, how the connection between the Hebrew letter. Please come to me, I make you glad kosher, kosher. I invite some nice people from Hollywood, my friends, and I want them to know what is Judaism and astrology. And this was happened. I came to him, and he put mezuzah on his door, interesting. He told the people there how happy to be a Jew, and his name is Elim Kimmelman. In fact, he passed away a few years ago, and in the internet you can see his history in Poland with his Jewish name. So it's very important, as I said, to know this. Right? And people don't know this, but one should know it. And my book, as I said, goes a lot into it. So, as we said already, very, as I said, there are drops from all these things about this month. But it's just I mentioned to you that Jupiter is connected with this month, and really people wonder this month supposed to have a good heart. By the way, it's very important to point out, as the Gemara said, Talmud says also, that to analyze somebody's character is not enough to look into the solar one, to look into the sign of the month, because you have to look into the hour. Every hour was, according to even our Rabbi Stelas also, there's a lot to speak about it. Every hour in the day is affected by another planet. Also the place definitely make a difference. The ascendants, So there are many other conditions for understanding proper, to have a proper picture of a person. But the general thing, this really, as you mentioned now, so maybe somebody of Sagittarius said, no, I don't fit so much with this thing. Okay, so you have to look, maybe there are other parts in the map, in the chart, what to say, that's to do with you. And this is why you are different. So, as we said, there is a lot about these ideas, connecting the letters with planets, elements, and zodiacs. So, the idea of this month in astrology, so they say something interesting. Astrology orders this month of Sagittarius in the category of the changing months. In fact, I have to tell you also very interesting idea, which is in astrology, that you have in astrology, the months, also the idea of three characters. One is active. Active, something is the opposite, stable, and then changing, So it means that the first month is like active, other one is more stability. Then comes the changing. Every third month from Aries, is changing one. So according to this, if you go into the month of Kislev, is also a third month, because Kislev is also time of changing. Because we have after Kislev you have Teves, and then after Kislev you have Teves and Shvat. Then comes the Adar. So Kislev is changing, Pisces is changing. Every third one, like start with from Aries, so Aries is active, then Taurus is a stable one, then Sivan, Geminite, is changing. And so, very interesting. So come out that the Kislev is changing. So, being changing months, what it represents, this implies that the time of Sagittarius carries with it the possibility of change. Yeah, it was revealed during Hanukkah. The big change in Jewish history. What could be, if not Matityahu, if not 2009, it be the end of the Jewish nation, like other nations don't exist anymore. But there's Menias, the power of Torah, the power of believing in God. They brought a big change and a new renewal to the Jewish people. And then came out really a great change. So clearly, from spiritual situation, definitely the Jewish people changed from slumber, they were sleeping, a negative self-image to renewal and revitalization. So all this renewal, as we said, and revitalization of Jews was in this time. By the way, it is so interesting to point out that there are other months which are changing, with the third one, as we said, after active, stable, and changing. What are those? So those are Sivan, the third, Elul, Adar, and Kislev and Adar, definitely. So all carry within them symbols of changing, essentially, to the Jewish people practice. If you take the month of Sivan, this is the month which is the month of giving of the Torah, the most fundamental change within the Jewish nation, transforming them from nation of slaves to a kingdom of princes, a holy nation. Then another month changing, this is the month of Elul. No, it is so clear that the month of Elul, just before Shoshana Yom Kippur, is set aside for repentance, for the amending of one's ways. During this month, the essential purity of the Jewish people was returned to them after being tainted as a result of the sin of the golden calf, as we know. Right? So amazingly, this was also a time of change. Now the last of the changing months, Adar, Pisces, also saw the change of decree from annihilation to life and liberation during the days of Esther and Mordechai. In the last days of the Persian exile, the month was changed from a time of mourning to a time of great rejoicing. So much, I tell you the truth, that the most material on the Sagittarius you have in my book. So much. Unfortunately, a little unfortunately, because for other people, because I was born in Sagittarius and I wanted to very much about this month. And I have so many pages, I see, on this month, so it will take a long time really to go over it. But I think that you got a little bit of the idea how astrology is connected with Hebrew letters, with Judaism. And as I said, Hebrew letters was the foundation of the world, right? And it's all my book. You can get all my books if you put GlazersonBooks.com or even GlazersonBooks.com, and you see many, many subjects dealing with Hebrew letters. Not only the zodiac, Hinduism, music, many, I think I have about 25 books or something like this. And all of them really connected with Hebrew letters because the word was created, so any subject. Now also, by the way, meeting Professor Haralik, from University of New York, brought me into another area, the codes, but the codes also have to do with letters. And a new word also came out through the codes. So if one really wants and interesting to learn all these things, as I said, try to go into my site, glazersonbooks.com, and you can choose any book you want. Interesting. By the way, the books are also in Russian, Spanish, Hebrew, definitely. So, I think that up till now you got some idea about the zodiac, astrology and Judaism, and I said to know more, you have my book about the zodiac. So, now we are just entering Shabbos, when we are blessing this month, Kislev. Next week we start the Hebrew month of Kislev. And hoping that all these blessings of Kislev should be support, confidence, harmony, beauty behind this sign, and Messiah, that's the hope, will come and bring us really this wonderful light, the hidden light of the candles of Hanukkah, and peace, tranquility will prevail all over